Okay, while the computer is being connected, our next speaker is Anshul Singhvi, and he will talk about Tyler.jl, which is a new Makie
Well,
project.
I wouldn't say new.
Okay.
It's been around for quite a while. But I just wanted to, if I can figure out how to do this slideshow because I always forget. Is it view? It's view. Okay, here we go. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, so Tyler is basically a package that lets you plot map tiles in Julia. Now, if you're wondering what a map tile is, it is this stuff. So when you look at Google Maps, right, naturally it won't load the entire overview of the Earth at all levels of detail um, because that would be an insane amount of data. So instead, what it does is it provides you these 256 by 256 pixel tiles at various levels of zoom. And so you can see that as I zoom in here, the level of detail, you saw that little thing over there on the side of the screen, right? The level of detail increases, increases, increases until eventually you can see up to a pretty respectable resolution. Um, and so if what Tyler is just a way, it's a package that will download and interactively visualize map tiles in Julia. It does so asynchronously. So as you zoom in, it will continually download new tiles that are more suited to your zoom level. It is just a bunch of Makie plots in theory. It's a little bit more complex than that because you have to deal with user interaction, right? So as the user zooms in and zooms out, you have to continuously and smoothly feed them tiles that are at that are at the appropriate level of detail for the limits of your axis and your screen. Um, it is extensible. We don't really have a formal API, but I extended it for GeoMakie, so you can plot tiles in projected space. You can do more extensions if people are interested. We can talk about that. But that's why I say theoretically extensible because you will need support from one of the Tyler devs if you want to extend it. Um, Here's a cool little video that was created by some folks at JPL, NASA JPL up in LA. And this is basically showing so, so, so the background is a world map set of imagery as tiles, right? And they've plotted on top of this basically the position of glaciers as they recede over time, right? And so you can see that as the time gauge sort of goes up here, those glaciers go further and further away from the sea. And yeah, so but the cool thing here is that this is just a regular Makie plot, right? Like there's nothing crazy going on, um, aside from of course that you had to animate this in the first place, but you would have done that anyway. But with this, you can interactively, as it's animating, you can interactively scroll around, show users things like that. Um, and so the way these tiles work is they're basically arranged in a quad tree, and so you start from zoom level 0 effectively, and usually they'll go up to about what they call zoom level 19. Each zoom level is twice the magnification of the previous. So if this guy was 256 by 256, each of these guys is also 256 by 256, right? But in total, they are 4 times as many pixels, right? Effectively, 2 squared. And so that keeps going, right? Zero, one, this is level 0, level 1, level 2. And all of these are showing the same thing, but in successively increasing levels of detail. And no, I think this might actually be, I'm not exactly sure where this is. um, so the one disadvantage of most tile sets today is that you will get them in the WebMacator coordinate system. This has many problems. One of the problems is that it cuts out at positive 85 and negative 85 degrees of latitude. And so you basically get no data at the poles above those. If you are visualizing this on a sphere or on any kind of projection, that can sometimes be a problem. Many times you won't care, many times you will. So yeah, now we can sort of go into the demo portion of this. I spun this up a little while ago, but I think I've somehow corrupted its state. Let's see. So what I'm doing here is sort of two things. I have my regular map tiles. This is from OpenStreetMap, but I also have these little rectangular boxes outside of them just to show you how the tile loading process works. And so as I zoom in here, you can see that this is actually loading new tiles. I think these two, the tiles that get loaded for the debug things are not the tiles that get loaded for the actual visualization, so they're kind of separate. But you can see that as you zoom out, right, you keep getting these different tiles. And maybe I'll just recreate this. that errored out. That would do it. So the way you create a map is you just invoke Tyler.map, right? And that create the default provider is rasterized OpenStreetMap tiles. We're working on vectorized tiles, so you don't get all of this pixelation and stuff. But that's what it is right now. The cool thing about this being just a Makie plot, so this map constructor, if I can go into this a bit, right? So the map has its own, so the map constructor will by default construct a new figure and a new axis and display those. But you can also construct it with a pre-existing figure and axis. So if I say fig map.figure, right? Right, it was m. Fig equals m.figure, ax equals m.axis, right? And you can see that, so basically this is just a lot of image plots. And each image plot is one tile. The plot itself gets reused. So when one tile goes out of scope, you just upload a new image to it, translate it somewhere else, and reuse, right? And it's you are not restricted to image plots. So there are also some tiles available for which give you point clouds, for example. You could use that. We have integration to use those. In a projected axis, you may also want to dynamically project these tiles. You can also do that with GeoMakie's mesh image recipe. It just lets you handle that. And so I've extracted this figure in this axis, right? And so now I can create a new map that is backed by this figure and this axis. But you can imagine that I created that figure and axis in any way that I wanted, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be created from Tyler. And so here I'm giving it a different plot configuration. And the plot configuration is really what allows you to affect how the thing is plotted. And so for example, the default configuration is just an image, or depending on if you're on a GeoAxis, it could be what we call a mesh image, which is just an image that's able to be warped on the GPU. But you can also have point clouds and really anything you want, right? And so this is a debug plot config that just shows you which tiles are loaded and how they're loaded. And so there you go, right? So this is all the tiles that have been loaded for London. The colors are completely random, just so you can tell them apart. And as I zoom out, you can see that this is now loading new tiles of higher and higher zoom levels. And I think some error has now happened. Yes. So this debug thing has not seen a lot of love, you can tell, in the last few years. But Tyler recently went through a pretty big refactor for Makie version 0.24. And so now it should be a bit cleaner as well. So I did want to demo the GeoAxis integration really quick. So the cool thing you can do, right? The cool thing you can do is you can create a map, and just as you would provide an axis keyword argument to any plot function in Makie, you can also provide that same keyword argument to map. And in this case, I am telling it to, right. I had to say type equals GeoAxis. Yeah, this can sometimes take some time to initialize, but this is now a GeoAxis. And so as I zoom out, right, you can see that this is actually projected onto an equal Earth projection. And you can zoom into wherever you'd like, right? But yeah, so I think I'm sort of out of time now.
Yes, maybe we have time for one question while the other presenter comes in and connects, if there's any. Uh, yeah, yes.
Um, Nice talk. Just quick question. How difficult would it be to change, for instance, you are using maps, but I'm thinking that you can use other type of images, right? Like,
Yes.
yeah, and what's the scale or how difficult would it be to
Yeah. So that's something that I'm actually working on probably on Saturday at the hackathon. Currently, you can't. Currently, it's set to use web all tiles as being in WebMacator. This is not to say that you shouldn't be able to or that you won't be able to, but I'm working on that sort of refactor on Saturday. So hopefully you'll have more information then.
Thank you. Thanks, Anshul. Round of applause for Anshul, please. Thank you.